members to this meeting requested by 4 committee members. I've just been notified.
Starting the meeting now?
Yes.
Okay.
Starting the meeting. I've just been notified by the clerk that as per the rules of committees, it is the responsibility of the vice chair to take the chair, and I'm not certain how that relates to the discussion that just ensued, but I've just been given that notification as sitting in the chair now, that is the normal practice of committee business. So this is veering away from committee business. The purpose of the meeting today is, as requested by 4 committee members, that the committee discuss their request to undertake a study to consider the threat to Canadians created by the reported failure to confirm the identities of passengers traveling by air. That is the purpose of the meeting, and I might just say, I will hold people responsible to speak to this issue and not other issues. And if committee members decide to veer off this issue, I will interrupt you and stop you from proceeding on to other subject matter. This is the subject matter. This is why we're called here and why we're constituted today. Yes.
Well, Mr. Chairman, first of all, compliments for taking a position and letting some embarrassing situations from not realizing themselves. Now, I'm glad that you mentioned this business about what the procedures might normally be, and that Parliamentary Secretary for Transport talked about the cost.
Is this a point of order?
No, I'm coming right to it, because I do want to raise the point of order concerns Standing Order 1082 and the mandate of this committee to study the matter before us today. There are several issues, as I started to say, that concern me about the request for this meeting. But let me deal with 1082 first. Section 1082 gives the committees the power, and I quote, to study and report on all matters relating to the mandate, the management, and operation of the department or departments of government which are assigned to them, end of quote. And Mr. Chairman, the department responsible for the subject that the government members are wishing to study at this committee is actually Transport Canada. Indeed, the policy that is the subject of this potential study is contained in the identity screening regulations, which falls under Transport Canada through the Aeronautics Act. Further, the screening authority, CATSA, is also responsible to Transport Canada. Now, Transport Canada, Mr. Chairman, is not one of the departments that falls under this committee's jurisdiction. Rather, it falls appropriately under the Standing Committee on Transport, Infrastructure, and Communities. Indeed, the Transport Committee, of which I am Vice Chair, is currently undertaking a comprehensive study of air safety and security. In fact, it has already conducted over 20 hours of hearings on this matter, and we're looking to continuing this study when the House resumes. Mr. Chairman, the Speaker of the House of Commons has been very clear about the appropriateness of committees undertaking studies on matters beyond their mandate as prescribed by the House. Though committees are masters of their own agenda, limitations are spelled out in the House of Commons Procedure and Practice, 2nd edition, which states on page 1048, and I quote, "Committees are free to organize their proceedings as they see fit, provided that their studies and the motions and reports they adopt comply with the orders of reference and instructions issued by the House." End of quote. You can imagine, Mr. Chairman, no such orders have been issued. In a ruling delivered on April the 2nd, 2009, the Speaker made this distinction clear when he stated, and again, I quote, "The House has taken great care to define and differentiate the responsibilities of its committees. particularly where there might at first glance appear to be overlapping jurisdictions, end of quote. In other words, Mr. Chairman, one committee cannot arrogate resident authorities and powers from another committee. This study, prompted by the Conservative members opposite, would be out of order. The former Minister of Transport has called for a departmental review of procedures and regulations relating to the proof of identification. He did that on August the 1st. The current minister, one can only assume, in discussing with his cabinet colleague, is continuing in this study. It is my view and the view of the Liberal members of the opposition that a committee study by this group is premature. Secondly, that we should wait until the results of the review initiated by the minister be received. And thirdly, that following that, any study that would be undertaken by the relevant committee of transport. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
I'm just going to briefly recess to discuss this with the clerk. Could I call the committee back to session, please? Thank you. First of all, thank you, committee members, for bearing with me in this role. I wasn't expected to sit here today and to have to make such an immediate determination. I've reviewed with the clerk and the analysts the point of order as Mr. Volpe has articulated it under Section 108 of the standing committees. And I won't read the section of the powers of standing committees because I believe having consulted and also just read it and reviewed it, that this section could be interpreted in either way on this issue, because this is in my opinion, a public safety issue in terms of what has been requested here. So we could look at this and probably determine it one way or the other. So in light of the fact that we are here to deal with this significant issue of public safety, I'm ruling the point of order out of order. Okay, the chair has been challenged. So that's non-debatable, so I'll call the vote.
Just a point of order on that. You have to be clear of voting for would sustain the chair and voting against would overrule the chair, correct?
So what you are voting on is whether my ruling should be sustained or not sustained. So in the affirmative, you're voting that my ruling be sustained, and the negative, you're voting that my ruling not be sustained. So all those in favor of my ruling, please indicate. All those in the nay? Okay, the chair is no longer valid then. I'll leave the chair.
Your ruling isn't.
The ruling. Okay, so the ruling of the chair is nullified, and we move forward. How does the committee wish to proceed? Mr. Holland first, then Ms. Sloan.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Given that that item's been ruled out of order, the next item of business I would suggest was this committee's discussion with respect to setting dates and witnesses for a study of G20 security. If you recall, at the last committee meeting, we ran out of time and didn't get to even a vote on that.
Mr. Holland, before you proceed down this line, I said from the outset in the chair, we will consider the reason this meeting was brought here. It was not brought by 4 other members to discuss the issue you're leading into here, and I'm going to stop you. I'm going to stop you first.
Mr. Chair,
you can challenge the chair if you wish, Mr. Holland.
Mr. Chair,
please don't go down this road.
Can I finish my point?
Because, no, Chair, because it's not germane to what we came here to discuss.
With full respect, Mr. Chair, that has been ruled out of order. It is no longer in front of us, Mr. Chair.
Point of order.
Point of order.
I'm recognizing his point of order.
I'm making a point of order, Mr. Chair.
You didn't start with a point of order.
I'm making a point of order.
Well, you can make a point of order after Mr. Jeans has made his point of order. Mr. Jeans.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just want to I'm curious, Mr. Chair. In past meetings, Public Safety has asked, and Mr. Holland in particular has asked to study things like aviation security, CATSA, Passenger Protect, and it's a matter of record, clearly indicated in the past that this committee wanted to study things to do with aviation security because they wanted to deal with it, I think, on a micro basis because Transport Canada, as Mr. Volpe has said, is studying aviation security.
What's the point of order?
I'll ask Mr. Jeans to make his point of order.
I will make
instead of the speech.
Thank you, and I don't like speeches at the best of times, as you know, Mr. Chair. But I will say that we all know his game now. He didn't want to take the chair, even though in Marla Montpetit it clearly indicates that he's supposed to take the chair. He didn't want to take the chair, so he could change the agenda of the meeting that we all traveled here to take. This is a very important issue for Canadians. We're here today to deal with it. I would suggest that we need to deal with it. It's an issue that is, quite frankly, I think Canadians are standing up and want to deal with it. And I don't understand why we would have this meeting today to do so.
That's what I've expressed. That's what I've expressed to Mr. Holland. Mr. Holland,
if I could,
okay, your point of order. Are you making a point of order?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Mr. Chair, with respect, we have voted as to the admissibility of dealing with this issue. The committee has said it rightfully belongs at Transport, where they're already conducting a study on this matter, and they're in the middle of it. And so there is no longer that item before us. So my point is, the committee's next step would be to continue the matter that it was last dealing with. So it would be a continuation of the committee's former business.
Excuse me, no.
So that would be my understanding of the rules. But we no longer have the item that Mr. Jean is debating, and I would welcome an opportunity to debate, but I know I can't in point of order, the points that he made. My point is that we are no longer dealing with that item. The committee has ruled it out of order, and therefore it is now time to proceed to the business that the committee was previously undertaking.
Since we're here already.
You'll just give me one moment on this. Okay, Mr. Holland, on your point of order, I'm going to rule it out of order and subject to, again, to be challenged on that. But there is a procedural way that you can introduce another subject matter if you wish, because if you haven't produced it prior to the meeting in the 48-hour period before by committee members, you can put it on the floor of this meeting at this point in time, a motion to that effect. It will require unanimous consent of the committee to proceed on another subject matter.
If I could, I'll seek unanimous consent for the committee to move to deal with the item that we were dealing with in the previous meeting.
So we're going to
So do I have
allow speakers.
do I have
We're going to allow
consent?
speakers to your motion.
Do I get to speak to my own? It's not a motion. It's a request for unanimous consent.
Non-debatable, it's to move to another item.
It's non-debatable.
No,
It's non-debatable.
another item.
Let's move to another item. It's non-debatable.
Correct.
Okay. So you're putting the motion on the floor to study. Could you place the motion on the floor, please?
I put the motion on the floor that we continue with the business of the last meeting relating to setting a schedule for GH security meetings.
Yes, point of order.
And I hate to use process it because it interferes, frankly, with what I think Canadians expect us to do here. But I was on the speaker's list. I was waiting patiently while all of this procedural shenanigans happen. And that was before he made a motion. He made a point of order. You ruled on it. I'm on the speaker's list. Unless it's another point of order, I believe I have right to speak, Mr. Chair. And then he can make his motion and follow the speaker's list as it is. If I'm incorrect, I apologize, but I would like to speak at some point because I think it's very important that Canadians hear why we convened this meeting.
Okay, I follow exactly what you're saying, Ms. Glover. What happened here was Mr. Holland, after the challenge to the chair was I was put out of the, that was turned down. Mr. Holland did not put a point of order on the floor. He just started to discuss, as on the speaker's list, he started to discuss what he felt should happen next. You were recorded as the next speaker after he started to speak that. That was interrupted by a point of order by Mr. Jean. Okay, we dealt with that point of order, Mr. Jean. So we go back to the point where Mr. Holland was making his remarks. I stopped him on his remarks because where he was going was into an area where I did not believe this committee came together for. So you're next on the speaker's list after that. Okay? Thank you. But I believe we have to deal and vote with the motion first that's been put on the floor. I believe we have to deal with Mr. Holland's motion. Mr. Holland. Right. It requires unanimous consent.
No unanimous consent, a vote. We need a vote. So that the committee proceed to another order of business. That's the motion.
Okay. So the motion is, because, just a second, the clerk is advising me that the next step would be that the committee would need to vote on whether we proceed to another order of business.
You deal with that. You have to deal with Mr. Volpe's motion. Mr. Volpe made a motion that this study, the proposed study, was ultra vires this committee. You ruled him out of order. There was a challenge to the chair. This committee still hasn't resolved that we're not going to study this issue. You ruled him out of order. You were overruled.
I was overruled.
So you're challenged. So now we have to deal with Mr. Volpe's motion under Standing Order 108.2, whether or not this proposed study is intra vires or ultra vires this committee, and that is debatable, Mr. Chair.
Just let me ask a question. Mr. Volpe, did you make that motion?
I did not make a motion. I made a point of order, and in that point of order, I indicated what the appropriate procedures were. That's why I made the point of order.
Was it a motion or not a motion?
I made only a point of order. I did not introduce a motion.
Okay, it was a point of order, Mr. Rathgaber. It was a point of order. It wasn't a motion that Mr. Volpe made. Your point of order isn't.
My point of order is simply that the point of order raised by Mr. Volpe was that the matter before committee was inadmissible because it was a matter that belonged to transport. The committee made a determination that to not uphold the decision of the chair. The chair said that he felt that it was in order. The committee said it wasn't in order. It is no longer before the committee. I had the floor. I moved a motion, and now we need to proceed to the motion, which is that we go to the next item of
Okay.
business.
So, does the committee wish to proceed? It requires unanimous dissent to go.
It's just a majority vote. It's a vote. So the motion is that we proceed to another item.
Yes.
I understand that Mr. Volpe did not move a motion. My understanding, if he didn't move a motion, then why are we not back on the business of the day? Because my understanding is that you were challenged, and your ruling to find it out of order was defeated. That does not mean we don't go back to where we were. It doesn't mean that we don't deal with it. The committee didn't decide to go forward with any other committee business. And just as a matter of record, I mean, the jurisdiction of the public safety minister is fivefold: emergency management, national security, crime prevention, law enforcement policy, corrections policy. And Mr. Chair, further, we know now, we have information that there are people boarding planes, and all Canadians know there are people boarding planes right now in Canada with their faces covered. Is that not an issue of security that is important today? Not whether police officers misbehaved in Toronto.
Mr. Jean, hold on. Mr. Jean, I'm taking your point of order is that it's appropriate for this committee to come back to the subject matter. Is that your point of order?
Absolutely.
After my decision was overruled?
Yes, that is.
So it is appropriate. That's your point of order?
Yes.
Okay. We'll deal with that.
Can you suspend?
We're going to suspend. Okay, could we reconvene, please, committee members?
Are you looking to put this to a vote, or
No.
No. Okay.
No. Please take your seats, committee members.
Not just that.
Okay. Having discussed the procedural items that have been happening here, and given the fact that I haven't taken Chair 101 yet in terms of knowing all the procedural things, but I was very prepared to be here today to deal with this issue, to guide it forward and deal with the discussion on this issue. I will excuse myself from the chair because of lack of confidence in the chair in the first ruling, and someone else can take the chair.
We've already dealt with the item relative to the matter the committee was first dealt with today. That means we only have one outstanding item, which is there unanimous consent, yes or no, to proceed with the next item of the agenda, which is the GHG 20. Is there unanimous consent? Yes. Seeing no unanimous consent, I'm adjourning.